原宣多媒体报道，3月8日太平洋时间上午11点，行动反对仇恨联盟的媒体系列网上会议，会议的主题是艺术和娱乐业在阻止仇恨犯罪蔓延中的关键作用。自2022年成立以来， ACT 反对仇恨联盟发起了一场关于解决仇恨犯罪的基本对话，将全球专家、政策制定者、政府领导人、刑事司法、人权专业人士和其他利益相关者聚集在一起，与媒体成员进行动态交流。媒体系列的这个部分的主题既及时又重要，因为第95届奥斯卡奖将在下周举行，对多样性、公平和包容的承诺正在被激烈的辩论。艺术和娱乐业在为来自各个角落的人才创造平等机会方面的作用，怎么强调都不为过。该行业在通过其信息、主题和描写促进平等方面的责任也不为过。艺术和娱乐业是世界范围内联系的一个历史性的重要来源，他们所控制的平台必须在各个层面上牢牢记住这个巅峰的责任。本次会议的主持人，反对仇恨联盟 AAHA 创始人何美湄Meimei Huff 和前加州参议员及共和党参议院领袖夏乐柏 Bob Huff。主讲嘉宾有 ChimeTV 创始人 Faith Bautista， 导演、剧作家、教育家、作家凯里佩罗夫 Carey Perloff。2012年 ACCA 的创始人，艺术品经销商、收藏家、发明家、企业家卡洛斯贝尼特斯 Carlos Benitez， 特雷沃爱，艺术家阿德里安娜特雷沃拉 Adrienne Trewolla。
Industry, which has the power to influence culture and promote social change. This topic was partially chosen because the Oscars will be center stage in just 4 days. Oscars are awards for artistic and technical merit for American film industry and are regarded by many, if not most people, as the highest recognition given in the film industry. We all know that popular movie stars have influence on subjects way outside their areas of expertise. But even the film industry is so much more than just familiar faces on the silver screen. There is a choice of subjects covered, the way issues are handled in the scripts, the ethnicity and actors and actresses that are cast for the roles, the compensation formulas, who is hired on the sets, and so forth. Arts and entertainment is a much broader subject matter than just the film industry. To that point, today we have assembled representatives of television, theater, and modern art, who will share their thoughts on how their areas of expertise within the arts and entertainment industry can play a leadership role to help reduce the growing plague in our society called hate. Bob?
We have Carey Perloff joining us today. Carey has been one of the leading voices in the international arts and theater scene for more than 4 decades, a globally renowned director, playwright, educator, speaker, and author. She received her education from Stanford and Oxford University and then became the artistic director of CSC Repertory in New York from 1988 to 1992. The youngest person ever chosen to lead an elite residential theater, Carey was the director of the American Conservatory Theater, which I will call ACT, in San Francisco for 26 years from 1992 to 2018, having been recruited to rebuild the earthquake-destroyed theater and to completely reimagine the future of ACT, both of which she accomplished to worldwide acclaim. Her exploration of themes of equity, diversity, and inclusion have been central in her directing, writing, and programming, and she has created countless opportunities for new voices and emerging talents to be heard, including many international women playwrights, actors, and directors to have their work featured. Her recent book on directing the plays of Tom Stoppard and Harold Pinter have been well received internationally, and she has written over 10 plays and directed some of Hollywood's biggest stars. Her recent venture, called Tiny Theatricals, makes the intimacy of the rehearsal process accessible to all. Through Carey's work, she is truly connected to every facet of the arts, Carey, we're so pleased you're able to rearrange your schedule and
art and experience in art. And I'll tell you why I say this. I don't think it's a luxury. I don't think art is something that you do when you've done your other subjects. What we have learned through many, many studies, through the Rand Corporation, et cetera, is that the experience of making art, of triggering your own imagination, of trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes, reduces truancy, it increases literacy, it creates team building, it completely reshapes how a child feels that he or she is part of a community. And one of the things we know about hate is another way to talk about hate. It is what happens when you other someone, right? When somebody does something violent to someone else because of who they are, because they are Jewish or Asian or disabled or whatever, that othering allows someone in their mind to think that the person that they're harming isn't like them. And that's an awful thing. And one way to crack that open, I feel, is the experience of the arts, whether you're reading a great novel that you lose yourself in, or for me, making theater, because you can't distance yourself that way, right? You experience humanity on stage, and very often you experience people who are very different from yourself. You know, I always give the most extreme example. Let's say you're watching Medea. Let us hope that none of us has ever wanted to kill our children. But something we do know about in contemporary culture is the kind of plague of postpartum depression that has hounded women, particularly women who have other kinds of mental health issues or poverty or et cetera. To see a play like Medea and understand what happens to a woman who is driven to that extreme because she feels she has no options is one of the most extraordinary experiences you can have as a human being. You understand, it's what the Greeks called catharsis, but you understand what it is to be driven to that point, and you're aware of what you need to do to protect other people from having to undergo that. So my whole career, I've been deeply involved in arts education. At ACT, we had Downtown Community High School embedded in our theater, and that was a community high school of kids who had never made it in any other school setting. Nobody wanted to teach them. They were kind of, left out in the cold, and we taught them. Their high school was through making theater, and I wish each of you could have heard the monologues they wrote and what it was for them to perform those monologues in front of each other, to hear people laugh and cry and empathize and realize they do have a voice. They do have something to say. They are important parts of the community, and that other people could empathize with them. I was just in Washington, D.C. doing a new one-woman show by a Palestinian actress who grew up in Haifa. Her first language was Arabic, her second was Hebrew, her third is English. And the journey of her life in a part of the world that we are now seeing enormous upheaval in. And again, the amount of polarization and hate that is going on in Israel and outside Israel. This piece was a way for me of working with a great artist to just crack open those questions. Again, what I think is so powerful about making art is it's not didactic. It doesn't point the finger. It doesn't tell you in the audience that you're wrong or that you're a bad person or that you're stupid. It's
about education. And happy International Women's Day. I mean, I just love, I really admire what Carey is saying. And all of us women, unfortunately, among all the women, among minority women, AAPI women report experiencing racism and or discrimination over the past 12 months. 3 out of 4, 74%. So today, stop me because I get so passionate talking about empowering all of us, the Asian. And as Bobby's saying, I've been a community leader, oh my gosh, over 2 decades. So I've been around the block many, many times, and you've seen the success, the discrimination, the programs, but here it is now, right? During COVID, after COVID, the racism that happened is a lot more than what we've experienced. I experienced it myself, and I never thought no one will treat me this way because I'm proud of what I've accomplished. But when I was told, waiting for my bagel to come, and doing my arm stretching. And someone told me, you don't do that in America. I said, what? Arm stretching? You don't do that in America? No, you don't do that in America. You go back to China. Well, you all know that I don't like Chinese, maybe is, but we're all labeled as Asian. And they don't realize that there's 54 countries or more, right? I mean, just the sub-ethnic group of Asian. And I always often say that, all of us are really different. And the only thing that binds us together is we all eat rice. But how do we empower us? I've been advocating for Black and Brown, but lately I'm seeing the D&I doesn't include Asian. I know some corporation, and I'm not going to mention it because this is recorded, that they're focusing on Black and Brown, African American, and Latino. Asian, they don't have the initiative yet. But if you look at the buying power per person, the Asian,
these hate crimes that we're seeing, obviously artist programs are very important. We have one of our artists in the panel today, True, who would, show her side of her story, which we love, which, being very active in almost like recording the things that are going on, but in a way it's almost like her work's like a media, because she's documenting a lot of the things that we're talking about right now. So, I hope that, with this collaboration, we can amplify what we're trying to do, which is be more multicultural, creating a platform that could be amplified by the media in terms of broadcasting. Creating a bill which would hopefully pass, where networks will give us a little bit of their time so we can put a lot of this art and talented people on such a platform. So thanks for...
True was classically trained from an early age by her mother, who was an art teacher. Jacobs, Alexander Wang, Philip Lim, and everyday women alike, True refined her skill and learned of her deep passion for making women feel beautiful. True's dream of merging her love for connection, art, and makeup seeded the inspiration for True Basics, an illustrated makeup tutorial book. In 2014, the lure of the art world pulled True back to the canvas and into the pop art world. Her first collection, Pop Life, was shown across the country alongside artists including Blake Leroux, Shepard Fairey, Ben Ein, Risk, and Gregory Siff, and apologize for any butchering of names there. In 2017, True is captivated by the political upheaval of the time and joined Revolution LA, an activist group in Los Angeles. Through her participation, she opened her world to the pains of communities less fortunate and realized that her role as an artist extends beyond making simply beautiful art. She wanted to deepen her creations to have a lasting impact as well. True's experience and activism, fused with her pop art techniques, birthed the concept for Sugarcoated, an art meets community engagement platform whose mission is to raise awareness about serious social and political issues in a fun and approachable fashion.
Very privileged, white, not very diverse area. And there was a lot of lack of history given to me in my education growing up. And when I got involved in activism and started working with Native American tribes and learning about their stories, I realized how uninformed I truly was. And it was a very rude awakening to find out that I was ignorant. And that was like somebody dumping a bucket of ice water on me. And I had to come to terms with that and then learn how to work with this void of a narrative. So, one of the points that Carey had made is that we have this tendency of othering, of, in the void of truth and education, we create stories in our minds. And this is really the power of story. We can either create story through entertainment and art, or we create stories in our minds. And I believe that hate is really originated from the stories we create about each other in our minds that are not based in truth. And the power of entertainment to override or rewrite these narratives is extraordinary. And the first time that I really saw the impact of entertainment, I was traveling in Australia in the middle of the outback in this small little house, and there on the table was an Us Weekly with all of our celebrities on it. And it just really hit me that entertainment has these tentacles that reach farther than politics will ever have reached to. And it was like, okay, so if you really want to have a major impact, you have to get into entertainment. So I want to give a shout out to Faith for creating a network that's going to, allow you to have the platform that you need to tell these stories that are missing in our cultural narratives. So with Sugarcoated, once again, only speaking to my own experience, I knew that there was a lot of people in my culture, which is, let's just call it privileged for lack of, a broader definition. How do I access, how do I share these stories that they don't have to?
We each are a dot on a map. Okay. We are a center of influence in our own community. When we make enough, there are enough dots, we'll make a line. There are enough lines, we'll have network. So what we do is important, even though just, ourselves. So what I'm trying to say is when we have a network, we have to have change agents. Now, who are the change agents that we envision in our endeavor to stop the spread of hate crimes? They are the students. So we started our student movement back in January. So we started in high school and also universities. So we have our first chapter set up in La Canada, Flintridge. So what we envision is for the students, not just to establish chapters in their own school. We would like for them to express themselves through arts, okay, film industry, photography, theater, whatever. So I think that is a very important, specific solutions that we are looking for. And I'm very appreciative that, for the arts and entertainment industry to speak up and hopefully working with the students currently in the future. So that's what we think that we should do, is to mobilize our society from hopefully early on to participate in this effort and get to know the different cultures and different people, different groups, so we can understand each other. And therefore, hopefully through this effort that we can reduce hate crimes. So that's the comment I would like to make. Thank you.
原宣多媒体报道，谢谢收看。